let's start with Germany. Now,
Your favorite country.
it's not a question of what I like or what I don't like. I lived in Germany for 4 years. I was very happy there. But the nice thing about sport is that we have rivalries.
Yeah.
And as I said before, max respect, but Germany have won 4 World Cups. Italy have won 4 World Cups. This means that for another 4 years at least, there will only be one country that has won more World Cups than Italy.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's Brazil. Hats off to them. So that's good. So that makes me a little bit happy. But anyway, going into this game, right? We had Germany against Costa Rica. In the other game, we had Spain against Japan. There were different permutations. Long story short, Germany had to win to have any chance of going through
Yeah.
because, of course, they had lost against Japan and they had drawn with Spain. So that was very simple for them. They won. They won 4-2. What they couldn't have envisioned is what happened in the other game
Yeah.
with Japan coming from behind to beat Spain. So inevitably, Germany out. Let's focus on that because there's an inquest. There always is an inquest.
Of
before the
course,
World Cup.
there should be. Anyway.
Should there be one?
Of course, there should be. You're Germany. This is the second World Cup in a row where you get knocked out in the group stage. This is embarrassing for them, and we can go into more details. The fact that they have the highest XG in this World Cup so far with 10, so they clearly had chances to score goals and loads of them, and not just the 4 they scored against Costa Rica. But this is a team with limits. This is a team that showed weaknesses. This is a team that didn't play as a team with no cohesion. This is a team where the manager, Hansi Flick, had issues, make wrong calls, wrong decisions. This is a team where Antonio Rudiger, as a centre-back, thought that it was funny, like being a bit of a clown against Japan when they
You're
were
still going to go back to that.
Of course I am.
Still going to pick on Tony for that.
But because this is symptomatic of the problems that they've had, Gab, through this whole tournament. And of course, they could have beaten Japan. They had enough chances when they were leading that game. But the fact is, once again, they came in a competition like this and didn't deliver.
So the way I see it is, first of all, I know people talk about results and the 2 first-round exits. I thought the first-round exit 4 years ago was a lot worse than this one because you're talking about losing to Mexico. You're talking about only beating Sweden with that dramatic last effort, weirdo Kroos free kick. And you're talking losing to Korea. Korea 4 years ago, not as strong as Korea today.
Definitely not.
So for me, that was really bad. This time around, I think the expected goals mean something. Now, they absolutely screwed things up in the second half against Japan. But that set them on a path where they were almost never going to turn it around, right? Because they drew with Spain. I don't think you can fault them for drawing with Spain. And then they beat Costa Rica. And then the other results were out of their hands. All I'm saying is it's fine margins.
No, of course.
If Kaoru Mitoma, if Kaoru Mitoma's ball goes out by millimeters, and that's how close it was, Germany are still in the World Cup. Yes?
Tanaka, you mean? Yeah. No, but
no,
my
Mitoma's cross, Tanaka's finish.
My issue is more in 4 years between 2018 and 2022, which is two car crashes for them, for a nation like Germany. What have we learned? What has been the direction? They lost to the last 16 at the Euros against England. They were not good. They were in France group. They were not good. They were not good in this tournament for some part of it. Yeah, they've been good. But when you've got Musiala in your team, when you've got Gnabry in your team, when you've got Sané in your team, yeah, of course you better be good with the ball. But defensively, they lack leadership and they lack cohesion massively.
So I think there are things that I would agree with you on. On the leadership argument, I think is often difficult from the outside to see because on paper they should have leaders, right? Neuer is a leader. Muller's a leader. These people who've been there, done that. Joshua Kimmich is a leader.
Okay.
I kind of feel sometimes, and look, this leadership piece that you're talking about, it's a big debate in Germany right now.
Yeah, of course.
But I also think it's because, Germans look at this. Yeah, look, we're out of this. It's a scandal. What do? Let's blame leaders. Let's blame lack of leadership because that's always an easy out.
No, but you mentioned Manuel Neuer and Thomas. Thomas Müller went through this competition as a ghost. He ghosted it, okay?
But I would focus more on this, Jules. I would focus on the fact that Manuel Neuer was poor throughout this competition.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be really, really good.
He's 35 years old.
Thomas Muller was, you called him a ghost, was not good in this. And he's supposed to, but that doesn't mean there's a lack of leadership. It just means that these people had a bad tournament at this time. So for me, the issue goes a little bit towards Hansi Flick. Because you need to look at your players. You need to decide on form, what do I do? For me, the idea to say, I don't need Kai Havertz, who, by the way, wasn't great either in the first game, but I'm going to put my eggs in the Muller basket. You're making a big decision. You're making a big call there, right? And it's a call that I think we can agree he got wrong.
Yeah, yeah, completely. I think there's a lot of things that Hansi Flick got wrong, really, in this tournament. But just to go back quickly on leaders, leaders carry a team, though. Do you see what I mean? If you're a leader,
Yeah,
you also need to deliver on the pitch. It can't just be, because in the dressing room maybe you give a pep talk before the game. This is not enough. This is not what leaders only do. We agree on that, right?
No, I agree with you. But I agree with you. But you can't just equate. We've seen these people be leaders in the past.
Yeah.
Now, because they play badly, we think they've lost the leadership qualities. I mean,
but part of the the leadership qualities is for
never
you to
having
be
a
good.
bad game.
No, but it's for you to be good. Manuel Neuer let his team down in this tournament, big time. Thomas Müller led the team down in this tournament, big time.
Yeah.
This is not what leaders do.
There's also reports of I mean, the media is going to town with this. There's reports of a split between the Bayern contingent and a split between the Dortmund contingent. One of the biggest accusations, though, towards Flick is they're saying, well, your brand of football, and this is an old chestnut of mine, which I completely disagree with, your brand of football is not what you should be playing in tournaments. This whole high press, attacking, it's too risky. In football, in knockout tournament, it might be fine for the leagues, but in knockout tournaments, you need to be tight, you need not to concede. And then they always say, look at France, look at England. And to me, this is the stupidest thing that you can do.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? No, not maybe. It's a fact. You have to shoot yourself.
Who is the last team to win a big tournament by pressing super high and counter-pressing well?
Well,
You don't have to do that to win a big tournament. More teams have won big tournament by being very solid. This is the truth. This is a fact.
First of all, teams that win through tournaments tend not to concede goals. They tend to score goals because they win. But Italy certainly won the last Euros by being far more possession-oriented
True,
and so
but
on.
apart
right?
from them.
Well, I would argue that maybe if England hadn't been so defensive against Italy, they would have squandered the lead. I mean, for France, it works. Or it worked the last time around. I thought they were much more attacking this time around in the first two group games than what we've seen the last one. For France, it worked also because you have a team that's built to counterattack very well, and you have great players. But this fixation that, must not concede, I think that's very dangerous because what happens is in football, you can concede any time. And if you build to defend and counter, making that transition from being a defend and counter team to a team that's chasing is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
So I think they're on the right path. The worst thing could do is say, "Oh no, we don't want Hansi Flick. Let's go with a Didier Deschamps."
They're gonna keep Flick, and the Euros in 18 months is in Germany. So you can't change everything right now. But to go back on the defense and how you win tournament by being solid, regardless if you press high or not, he in the 3 games that they played, he never had the same back four, never. So I think.
Because he picked the wrong black forward to begin with.
Well, he picked it wrong 3 times then, because they always conceded, and they never looked. They always look shaky with the 3 different back four.
Well, but that brings us to the last game. We need to give a shout out to Costa Rica here because at one point they even had the lead against Germany, and my head nearly exploded. In that game, playing Kimmich at right back, I had no issue with because you're going to have 90% possession. And so you're better having another guy who can pass onto the team, right? Than having some random right back.
Yeah.
You don't have an issue with that.
No. My issue is that you can't go into a World Cup not knowing where your back four is, where your defense is. This is crazy. You can't change 3 times in 3 games your back four. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And you still concede 2 goals, whether Kimmich is at right back or not. You concede 2 goals against a very poor Costa Rica team too.
Can we, though, having said how poor Costa Rica is and everything, can we show some love about the magic of football that you can have this group of players who I think we can probably count on one hand the number of Costa Rican players who are actually who could be productive at a top 5 league right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not being harsh here, right?
No.
They have some promising younger players. They have a bunch of really old guys. They have Keylor Navas. And yet, 90 minutes, mano a mano, against Japan, who won the group, and against Germany, they held their own for long stretches.
Completely.
That's kind of the
well
magic
done,
of
of
football,
course.
right?
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Bueno, vamos, ticos. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.